Today on Public Eye News, the resignation in Washington and flood warnings in the UP.
Later in the show, Brady Hinshaw has our weather, while Mason Wallace has NMU Sports and a look at tonight's NCAA championship game. Hi, I'm Jillian Wormlinger.
I'm Mason Wallace. Welcome to Public Eye News. The flood warning is continuing for Baraga and Houghton counties as rivers in the Upper Peninsula continue to rise. Officials are monitoring the Sturgeon River near Alston because a combination of snow and rainfall has increased flow out of the Prickett Dam. The flood stage is currently 8 feet and the warning will continue to Wednesday night. Officials want to remind people that it's never safe to walk or drive through swift-moving water going over a road. And Superior Con will be hosted at Northern Michigan University on Saturday, April 13th from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. in Jamrich Hall. Superior Con is a free pop culture convention put on by organizations at NMU. It's recommended that anyone who likes video games, cosplay, cartoons, or anime to check out the free event. The event is open to the public and anyone under the age of 12 must be accompanied by an adult.
A silver alert was issued in Wisconsin for 75-year-old Earl E. Moore of Marinette, and that he may possibly be in Upper Michigan. The Wisconsin Department of Justice silver alert said Moore was last seen Friday, April 5th at a relative's home in Marquette. He was driving a silver 2007 Chevrolet HHR with Wisconsin plates ABW 8418. He ended up being found safe today. No further information has been released regarding the situation. And a Negaunee woman was arrested for speeding away from Marquette police in a stolen car Sunday morning. According to the Marquette Police Department, officers arrested 34-year-old Jenny Donahue for fleeing and eluding, unlawful driving away of an automobile, and suspended driving third offense. These charges and other possible charges are pending authorization from the Marquette County Prosecutor's Office. Police claim officers tried to stop Donahue, who was driving a tan-colored Ford Taurus at 10:18 a.m. Sunday after she ran a stop sign at the corner of W. Bluff Street and Rubline Street. She reached speeds up to 45 miles per hour in the residential areas as well. She was eventually stopped in the 4200 block of US 41 in Marquette Township.
After 8 years in the making, the ribbon was cut on the new $330 million hospital in Marquette. Covering nearly 700,000 square feet, the new medical building was designed with feedback from the community to accommodate flow of patient care in proximity to services. The move-in day for the hospital is set for June 2nd, and the UPHS Marquette Chief of Staff says these extra 6 weeks will allow each department to get more familiar with the new space. Marquette City Manager Mike Angeli said, quote, "We will have staff working in police blocking roads, making sure the transition can happen in a swift movement," end quote. The medical office building is also set to begin operating on June 2nd. And a total of 23 people were arrested near Michigan State's campus after the Spartans fell to Texas Tech 61-51 in the Final Four Saturday night. A crowd grew around 1,500 people and 2 signs in a police car were damaged, while firefighters responded to 10 small furniture fires. 22 of the arrests were misdemeanors and 1 was a felony. Meanwhile, down in Texas, students poured into the streets after the victory, shutting down traffic, lighting fires, and even flipping a car. And stay tuned. After this break, we'll have your national and international news.
There's so much beauty here, and there is so much pain.
I've already been to detox about 8 or 9 times.
I wanted to be someplace where physicians were really needed.
I started creating health career clubs in all of our local schools.
I'm not mad at you. I'll never get mad at you. My job is to try to keep you alive.
Healthcare is a relationship.
The Providers.
Tonight at 10 after Antiques Roadshow.
Welcome back. Today, Kirstjen Nielsen said she still shares President Donald Trump's goal of securing the border. However, this occurred a day after she resigned as Homeland Security Secretary, despite bitterness over a spike in Central American migration. Trump announced on Sunday in a tweet that U.S. Customs and Border Protection Commissioner Kevin McClain would be taking over as acting head of the department. Nielsen had traveled to the U.S.-Mexico border on Friday alongside Trump to participate in a roundtable with border officers and local law enforcement. Nielsen had grown increasingly frustrated by what she saw as a lack of support from other departments and increased meddling by Trump aides on difficult immigration issues. Yesterday, she met with Trump not knowing whether she'd be fired or would resign. She ended up resigning, though she was not forced to do so. And a California woman kidnapped while on safari in Africa is safe and will soon be headed home. CBS's Ian Lee has been tracking her release and has this report from London.
5 days after being taken hostage at gunpoint in Uganda, freed American tourist Kimberly Sue Endicott started her journey home.
Thank you so much.
She left a wilderness lodge in Uganda where she got her first shower and food in nearly a week. Security forces found Endicott and her tour guide Sunday across the border in the volatile Democratic Republic of Congo. 4 armed gunmen attacked the pair last week while on safari in Queen Elizabeth National Park. The kidnappers demanded $500,000 in ransom, and sources tell CBS News at least some of the money was paid. But it's unclear who paid it. The U.S. has a policy not to negotiate with hostage takers, and Ugandan authorities say it wasn't them.
As the police and the government of Uganda, we don't do ransom, and we can never encourage that.
The abductors managed to escape after the rescue, and Ugandan forces are still searching for them. Tourists at the popular safari park say the incident won't stop them from enjoying their trip.
I feel safe with the personnel here, and I think everything is well organized.
The U.S. Embassy in Uganda's capital city, Kampala, is warning Americans in the region to be careful. Ian Lee, CBS News.
Astronauts at the International Space Station took on their 3rd spacewalk in just 2.5 weeks. The astronauts did battery and cable work with an end goal to expand wireless communications and to provide a backup power circuit for the station's robot arm. They also had to reinstall 2 old batteries after a new lithium-ion battery did not work. The next spacewalk is scheduled for next month. And high school robotic programs give students an opportunity to get experience in engineering and other fields in a fun and exciting way. Mark Liverman is in New York with more.
Months of preparation, all for just a few minutes of competition. But if you ask these high school students, they'll tell you it was all worth it.
We're just so immensely proud of everything that we do as a team and as individuals.
And they have good reason to be proud. Just look at this robot, the brainchild of these guys. Captain Michelle Rojas and her team of Queens Technical High School in Long Island City.
Bring it back. I need cutters.
The team putting their final touches on their robot named Cosmos. All of this part of the 19th annual New York City First Robotics Competition, taking place at the Armory New Balance Track and Field Center in Washington Heights. So the competition is made up of about 50 teams, and each team's robot is judged on its ability to climb, move objects, as well as the robot's design. Competing for scholarship money and bragging rights. Can we get a hat turn, boys? Like Rojas and her team, Captain Malachi Patrick and his Harlem Knights came here to dominate.
All the way up, all the way up. Doing quick test to win our next match.
And for these students, this is more than just a competition. It's a calling, and maybe even one day, a career.
I want to do this for the rest of my life now.
A life changer for some. And not just for fields like engineering.
It changes how you look at other people and how you look at yourself as an individual.
Like the robots that lift these objects, a chance to uplift a lot of these students. In Washington Heights, Mark Liverman, CBS 2 News.
On Saturday, wrestler Bret the Hitman Hart was tackled by a spectator while he was given a speech during the WWE Hall of Fame ceremony at Barclays Center in Brooklyn. The attacker was promptly subdued by several people, including other wrestlers who came to Hart's defense. Hart was not hurt in the situation, although several shocked onlookers posted footage of the tackle online. The induction event resumed, with Hart continuing his speech after the assault. 26-year-old Zachary Madsen of Lincoln, Nebraska faces assault and criminal trespass charges. And after this break, we'll be back with your weather and sports. Stay
500 years ago, the courage of a humble German monk changed history. I'm Rick Steves. Join me for my special Luther and the Reformation. we'll follow the story of Martin Luther and how, at a time of dramatic change during the Renaissance, his brave stand against the wealth and corruption of the Catholic Church helped launch the Protestant Reformation and sparked a century of conflict that changed Christianity and Europe forever.
Tomorrow afternoon at 2 on Public TV 13.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm your weatherman, Brady Hinshaw, and behind me it is nice and drizzly out with that snow melting on the NMU campus. But looking at our current conditions, we have partly cloudy with a temperature of 41, winds out of the east-northeast at 4 miles an hour, and a barometric pressure of 29.74 and falling. Looking at tonight, we have rain with a low of 32 and winds out of the north at 7 miles an hour. Looking at tomorrow, there's snow and a high of 35 and winds out of the north-northwest at 16 miles an hour. Looking at our beautiful UP, we have 41 and cloudy in Sault Ste. Marie, 48 and mostly cloudy in Manistee, cloudy in Escanaba and 55, 62 and mostly cloudy in Menominee. Looking at our western half, we have 58 and mostly cloudy in Iron Mountain, rain and 52 in Ironwood, 43 and rain in Houghton, and back in beautiful Marquette, it's mostly cloudy and 41. Looking at our week ahead, we have Wednesday, a high of 32 and a low of 27 and cloudy. Thursday, we have a high of 32 and 29 with afternoon snow showers and some wind. And Friday, we have a high of 35 and a low of 27 and snow. Well, Mason, the weather doesn't look on track, but I hear you have a story that is on track.
Sure is, Brady. The track team's doing real well. The NMU track team wrapped up a solid weekend of competition in Ohio at the Tiffelberg Open. The odd-named event is a joint held meet between Tiffin University and Heidelberg University. The Wildcats wound up taking second overall out of 11 teams competing. Overall, the Wildcats scored 6 individual wins at the event. The Cats are running back to action at the Golden Grizzly Invitational hosted by Oakland University April 12th and 13th. Unfortunately, the NMU Wildcats lacrosse team could not do as well as their track team counterparts. Friday night saw the Wildcats fall 21-9 against Concordia University's St. Paul Golden Bears. Following the game, Wildcat junior Grayson Wenglever is now just shy of 100 career points. Freshman Cam Stilton in goal made 11 saves for the Cats. The Cats returned from a series of games on the road to host Concordia St. Paul in a grudge match this Wednesday night at 6 p.m. And Virginia and Texas Tech. One of these two teams will be this year's NCAA champion. Tonight, March Madness will close with the championship game between number 1 seed Virginia and number 3 Texas Tech. Texas Tech knocked off Michigan State 61-51 to earn their spot in the championship, while Virginia beat Auburn in a controversial nail-biter 63-62. The game tonight gets underway at 9:20 p.m. on CBS. Well, Jillian, basketball is wrapping up tonight on the court, but I hear you have a story coming from the field.
That's right, Mason. Things are sure heating up out there. On Saturday, a Connecticut baseball diamond went up in flames after somebody dumped gasoline and set it on fire to dry out the infield. Authorities say it could cost over $50,000 to repair it. First Selectman Rudy Marconi told Hearst, Connecticut media that 75 to 100 people watched as it happened, with some recording video on their cell phones. No one has been charged in this situation. And that's all the time we have for you today. Thank you for joining us on today's edition of Public Eye News, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced in studios located in the Edgar L. Hardin Learning Resources Center by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television.